Welcome into the roundtable once again. Excuse me, I'm Bill Priestley here along with Mike Vincent and Thomas Watson. We're flying by the seat of our pants this morning if you knew what was going on behind the scenes.
It's funny.
Gentlemen, let's play a game of good idea, bad idea, a good Tuesday idea for our roundtable. And we're going to start off with an idea that is, some have said is a really good idea. Others would say it's probably the beginning of the end of the world. Gaddix Class 6 autonomous trucks are going to make their first appearance in Austin, Texas, and they're replacing the big rigs on a route that's going to go basically between a Georgia Pacific facility and 30 plus Sam's Club locations. They're going to be on an almost continuous route. Good idea, bad idea, Mr. Vincent?
Good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going this way. It's coming. I mean, you can say it's a bad idea all you want to. It's we're still going headlong. Gaddix been doing a similar thing, much smaller. I think 1 or 2 vehicles in Northwest Arkansas for some time now. We got a chance to look at their vehicle when we were out there in Rogers at our event. Really cool stuff. But yeah, the efficiencies gained, and yeah, they're Class 6 instead of the big rigs,
right.
But they're continuously moving. So it adds capacity, it adds efficiency, and it's a great proving ground. And it's where I see, and many others, obviously, I'm not claiming to be a genius, but this is the space where we kind of figured this was going to start off the first, right? Enclosed environmental, and then fixed kind of loop, highly predictable, easy to understand what construction's doing and that type of stuff on those routes. So
And it adds to the kind of just-in-time model there as well.
It does. And then you're going to have pilots or somebody sitting in a room with watching these things to manage these, which is a perfect place for those safety drivers and people transitioning out of trucks into those where they can kind of re-educate into these systems. So slow movement of this is good for everybody, I think.
I think a great idea in terms of, one, it's coming from like a GP Sonica going to a Sam's Club multi-stop. So look at the mechanics of it. You've got something where 2 of those customers are already difficult to deal with on a good day. You go to a Sam's Club and they'll just tell you to come back. Well, at least if they tell the autonomous truck to come back in a day or 2, he's not, it's not going to be too pissed. So that's the first thing. The second thing that is good about it is they're testing.
In the Stephen King movie.
Yeah, exactly. The second great part is they're testing their autonomous stuff in Austin, Texas. If anyone's ever been to Austin, Texas, I have. Every time I ride into Uber, it's a game of Russian roulette as to whether or not I'm going to be collided with on the local roadway. If you look at Dallas, they at least figured out to make a loop. Austin, unfortunately, they take you right up the middle. And so, looking at this autonomous technology, testing this technology in places like Austin where the infrastructure is it's busting at the seams, folks. And so, if there ever was a great way to do it, especially like what Michael Vincent said earlier, testing autonomous, getting it fleshed out, we knew this is coming across. But for 2 customers that often have inefficiencies, let's see where this goes. This could be a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Moving on, we'll get back to Austin here in just a second. The Gulf and Atlantic ports, some of which are making some big-time inroads into expanding their channels and getting more ships in, just announced Houston a $1.11 billion project to widen their channel by a good 140 feet. That's going to add about 1,400 ships per year. Jacksonville, Florida, just also enhanced their dredging to be able to take on bigger ships as well. And the question I have here is, obviously everyone is expecting an overflow coming from perhaps China to be coming around to the eastern side of the country. The question is, are they betting on the efficiency of the Panama Canal as well? With that, good idea, bad idea? Let's start with you, Mr. Watson.
I'm going to say good idea just because the market's responding to inefficiencies. And what we're seeing right now is California had the capacity. Rachel Premack had some stuff about how these large ships are requiring deeper dredges. We're having to build the infrastructure up for it. We know, and executives now know, that California is not the golden state for getting your stuff unloaded. And so right now we're in a situation where Port of Jacksonville, Port of Houston, we may say Norfolk, we may say Baltimore, we have this eastern seaboard. Like you said, the limiting factor is going to be the Panama Canal. But at the same time, with these larger 20,000, 24,000 TEU equivalents, this is great because that also brings commerce, that brings infrastructure, that brings opportunities to other parts of the country that are cheaper right now, and it removes this West Coast stranglehold on our supply chain, just as we're starting to try and build resiliency.
Yeah, I'm going good idea from a number of things, not taking away from anything that Thomas said. I agree with all the points that he just made. Yes, the Panama is a limiting factor, but we'll overcome those kind of things. It's already got like a 2-week backup, right? Mm-hmm. And things have changed. The overflow from the Far East. not going to be as big as we think moving forward, right? That tidal wave is not going to come. But you have new e-commerce moves, et cetera. Zim with the Port of Baltimore, where they've got to upgrade, especially with their warehousing, et cetera. You've got bigger and bigger ships. You've got Boston, who brought in the new low-profile cranes, and they're also a stop on that Zim line. And Maersk has one as well from Southeast Asia for e-commerce moving into those. And Houston, mostly a bulk and out of gauge. The shipping industries, I don't know what it is, but I know it when I see it. Type of shipments, not a major container port, but needs it to do that, right? They need those infrastructures, and it is efficiency, because I think we've learned that our ports and our infrastructure for supply chains are absolutely a matter of national security, maybe not with bullets and bombs, but certainly for the livelihood of the citizens of the United States and the corporations. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Moving on, we have point number 3 here. The People's Convoy, which of course started way back at the beginning of the year and finished in May in Hagerstown, Maryland. Finds out, according to Clarissa Howes, it is $1.8 million missing at this point, with words like power struggle, money grab, and circus being thrown around on social media as far as it's concerned. This is a movement that started, I think, with good intentions, but ended up very badly. Good idea, bad idea. Mr. Vincent.
It's a bad idea.
Very simple.
Anytime you can't find $1.8 million, it's a bad idea.
Where's the beef? No.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, and I was shocked to see that, because yesterday it was $15,000 on What the Truck. They couldn't find $15,000 that they collected to pay the rent at the Hagerstown Speedway or whatever, the dirt speed track. And then after they collected the money, they got evicted for not paying. So that money went somewhere. Yeah. Maybe it's $1.815 million. I don't. Good point. At this point, who knows? But yeah, I mean, I don't know, good or bad idea. I don't know. I'm going to take the whole convoy over. Really bad timing, and it got hijacked like many do. So bad situation and bad timing. I mean, they launched this thing, and then we got rid of the mandates anyways. This really didn't make that happen, and that's what they were trying to do, right? And it happened at a time when Russia started its aggression against Ukraine, the war, and nobody really gave a crap about your masks, because there's people getting bombed to death over, and we've got food shortages and economy that's going to be tanked because of Putin's a crazy man. So yeah, just bad timing, and unfortunately got bad management, right? The people who originally started this left because it started getting taken over. So the guys who started this, don't blame these guys. They're gone. The guys that Dooner and I interviewed, et cetera, those guys are gone. It's this new faction that came in, and then this, that, and the other, and nobody really knows who was doing anything.
Mr. Watson?
Activism is messy, folks. Wherever you decide to protest, and if you're paying your protesters or not, everybody wants a piece of the action. And the problem with trucking is right now that when you have something such as a freedom convoy and it gets diluted with other interests, your primary interest you were serving now falls apart. I don't think they'll find that money under the bedseats. But the issue we're running into is this. If you want to be a driver and you really want to try and actually protest against it, you need to do it localized and you do it tactically, because drivers are now realizing they have leverage on the supply chain. But as Thomas knows, don't accept a bunch of donations. Just decide to stop 1 or 2 distribution centers. Then you'll have some real fun. Shut it down for 2 or 3 days. Once the stores locally run out, you can have localized targeted protests. We've seen it throughout our history. You just have to have the old, like, Johnny Hoffa style tactics of the 70s. Shut her down, folks. And so unfortunately, drivers are purposefully kept separate, and so we're in a situation now where that probably won't happen, but eventually drivers as a voting bloc would represent potentially millions of people in a great political subject. We just can't make money off of it, so our current political system has not been incentivized enough to worry about their plight. It may do it when robot trucks come, but I think bad idea. If you're going to have something and you're going to have a movement, please just don't lose the money, or at least wait a few more months so people forget that you did lose the money, as a few other recent popular movements have shown.
That's right.
Buy a house, I've heard. That's a great way to store it.
Okay. This man
or dig holes in your backyard like Arkansas Mo did at the beginning of the pandemic.
This man has too many ideas. Too many ideas. I'm going to skip and go to our last one here. Going back to Austin, Texas, and again, we're talking about autonomous robots now are out on the loose, and they're delivering Chick-fil-A. This reported earlier this week. It is Chick-fil-A is taking up arms where Domino's have taken some inroads, where Safeway has taken some inroads. They're making local deliveries with autonomous robots. This is also happening in Austin, Texas. The pilot program for this begins this month. So not only are you going to have Class 6 trucks from Gaddick running around, but you're also having these little robots running around delivering Chick-fil-A. Good idea, bad idea, gentlemen?
I think it starts a gang war. I think it's a bad idea. I think the robots will start a war with the autonomous Class 6s, and it's going to be just mayhem. Next thing you know, there are going to be dogs and cats living in the street in Austin, and I think it's going to lose property value. And listen, I like autonomous robots. I think it's really cool. I don't think there's an autonomous robot that's going to cruise by a college campus carrying Chick-fil-A that's not going to be molested, mugged, and things are going to be taken. People are going to screw with them. I don't see it actually going anywhere. I'm a big skeptic on robots running around delivering things. Although what I like about this is I've always wondered to myself two things: why is soda or the only thing that we sell in the metric system in our stores, and why are pizza the only fast food that has its own delivery system? Why isn't chicken or burritos have it? So I'm for it in that regard.
I took a picture of one when I was in Texas. There's what they look like. They're like little street sweepers. We're going to get the graphics. There's some B-roll, folks. You can see it.
Yeah, it's like a miniature Zamboni.
Yeah, it's a baby Zamboni. And basically what these things do is, I saw it outside the Chick-fil-A when I was in Texas. Like, what the heck is this going to do? Where are they going to deliver things? Well, the problem is, like you said, deployment of this, there's two problems. One, Austin has a very large homeless population. If you see an autonomous Chick-fil-A thing, that's basically the equivalent of Meals on Wheels. And
Plus, you've got some scrap metal.
Yeah, you got some scrap metal. Those tires look really nice, and they can fit on a bicycle. I promise you, they'll make it happen.
Not to mention the University of Texas at Austin.
Yeah, and then you're hungry. It's 3 a.m. You see the little Zamboni driving through, and then boom, I've got myself a meal. Don't even have to wait in line.
I just want to point out that Thomas Watson has advocated for shutting down distribution centers and scrap metaling autonomous Chick-fil-A delivery vehicles.
He's got an agenda.
My activism is unorthodox. But the pizza wars will be won by these Zambonis. That's all I'm saying. Good idea.
All right. We'll have to leave it at that, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Roundtable. We'll take a short break and be back to wrap up the show after this.